Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from the Ionic Academy, back with a new quick win on drag and drop. So we've talked about that topic in the past using the Dragola service, which was kind of complicated sometimes, but there's now a package called Angular Material, which we've also seen in other videos to style different components with the material design. And actually that package also contains a cool component that we can easily integrate. So why do we wait? Let's do this. I've already started my blank new Ionic application as usual, nothing in here. And we can now go ahead and run npm install for a few of the Angular material packages. But what actually is easier, I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but we can use the Angular CLI, which we notice by using ng, and the add command, and then Angular material. So the ng add command basically runs a few different things on your project and actually not only modifies the package JSON but also other files. So there are a few other adds that you can run, and this also includes like selecting a theme. Not really interesting in our case. I will just select the first one. Yes, we want to use Hammer.js. We want to use browser animations. Yes. And then the predefined template or the job of the ng add command will run. And then you will see, okay, we got an updated main TS. So what did we update in here? Actually not sure. I think, yeah, we got the Hammer.js import. We got the app module updated with the browser animations module being added. We got the Angular JSON, okay, whatever was added in there. We got the index HTML updated. I actually don't know what was updated in here. Perhaps I think the material icon font was added. And finally, the node modules, whatever, was also updated. So now we got Angular material installed. If you don't know it, I can just bring it in here. Actually, that's already the drag and drop. You can find it if you go to Angular material and then to the component dev kit, the CDK. And from here you can select the drag and drop. They got a few more of these patterns, really interesting stuff in here. Go ahead and check it out. And now what we want to get is this. So I really enjoy using drag and drop. I had an app in the past where I used this with the 4 quadrants. I think that was also in this tutorial for the Dragola, where we basically build this. You could also build this, but we will do a bit simpler version today. So let's close this and let's go back. Also, the cool thing about this page is you can always take a look at the Stack Blitz example for the code and easily check out what they did. So nothing here in the TypeScript file, a bit of HTML. So let's just copy this to our home HTML. Let's get rid of this. Especially important, as always, is the primary color of the toolbar and the title. Okay. And now we notice that there's a directive edit called cdkDrag. And once we run our application and it reloads, we should actually see nothing. Well, we got this one. We can't really move it around. I don't know why we don't get an error right now, because normally it should be missing. So let's just copy all of the cool styling from here and put it in here. So really, this is just the example. You don't have to follow it. Just check it out if you want to. And then we still can't move this thing. So I don't know, as I said, why there's no error. Normally there should be, because the directive is missing. And to fix this, we have to go to the according module file of the page where we want to use the drag and drop feature, and then add the drag, I actually don't know, the name is drag drop module. And this one comes from, okay, you should spell things correctly, from what we just installed, Angular material, Angular /cdk/ drag drop. There we go. So now we've got edited this, and normally it should now work. So there we go, first drag and drop in our Ionic app. Actually, I also tested this on the simulator or device because I wasn't sure if this would work, but with Hammer.js, everything is working perfectly fine. And I could play this for hours. But we want to take this a step further now. So we want to implement two lists from which we can drag and drop the elements to the other list. This also means we need to update the data sources of the lists. This isn't handled by the package itself. I think that's fine because this is stuff that then goes on behind the scenes and you don't really know sometimes if it works or if it's not working. So we will start with two simple lists. We will just identify them by A or B and the number, so we get the order. And then we implement a drop function that will get an event which is actually of the type cdkDropList string array. So I didn't come up with this, it was in the documentation. Can we get an auto import? Yes, we can. That's awesome. So let's log my event in here and then use the event. In here, we now have to check, or later have to check, in which lists we want to update. For now, let's just see what this event actually contains. And to do so, we're gonna go back to our element that we defined as cdkDrag and simply put in cdkDropList dropped. I don't know if this one's called actually. Let's see, because normally you would have to, yeah, I guess we need a parent for that, but let's check it out. Yeah. So if you go back to the documentation, so this is not working like it is yet. There's an interesting sentence somewhere here. There. Adding cdkDropList around a set of cdkDrag element groups the draggables into a reorderable collection. And that's exactly what we need. So we need a parent that has the directive of cdkDropList. And what would be easier than having an ion list defined as the cdkDropList? So I don't know if it already works this way. This is just a very poor attempt to mimic the behavior of the drop event. Yeah, let's just interesting. Let's just go with the full example. So that's how we want to call the drop event later. Let's move to the final structure a bit by using our column layout. So simple 6 size column layout. So we got two columns next to each other. And then let's start with the first list. And ion item ng4 let item of, okay, what was it called? List 1 or something? Yeah, list 1. And then we will just log out the item. Also, we will use the cdkDrag here once again. And I think now we should be fine to actually use the drop event on the ion list. So that's where we're gonna have to specify it. So we see the first list doesn't really look good. This also looks pretty terrible. I actually don't know what is going on here. I don't know if this is useful in any application, but we will get to a useful state pretty soon. I will actually change this to an ion card and use the ion card content in here. That makes it look actually a bit better. But we're still not here. We need to change a lot on the ion list to tell the drag and drop component what we're actually doing here. So we need to pass in the cdkDropList data, which is simply the data of the list we want to display. We still need the ng4 to display the items, so that's just as a reference here. Then we need cdkDropList connected to. Let's leave this open for now. That's basically where you specify to which other drop list this one is connected. So in our example, we will have two lists right here, but we could have even more. So if we go ahead and implement the second one, we need to give both of them an ID in order to identify them. And that's done by simply passing, or let's defining first list is cdkDropList. And now we could use this one, first list here in the second one and second list in here. Let's see if we now can finally get the drop event. I would really love to see it. Export as cdkDropList. All right, easy fix. Just spell the words right. I knew I would run into trouble with the CDK components. So here we go now, and we see the drop event as well. So we got the parent defined as a cdkDropList. We gave it an ID, not used yet. We used the data of list 1. We're not connected to anything, but we're listening to the drop event. And as you can see, if I drop the first one at the last position, we see previous index was 0, current index is 3. We get a lot more information like the distance, the item that we're dragging, the container that we're dragging to the data of the container. So there's really a lot of information in this drop event. And now the only thing we need to do to make our drag and drop work is simply copy this and paste it in here. And then we name this one second list. We give it the data of the, no, I think this was list 2. This one is now connected to the first list. So select the ID, not the data or the bucket of your data. Use the real ID that you defined here. And also use this one in the first one. So the first can be dropped to the second one and the second to the first, of course. And then we iterate over list 2. And let's save and let's see how this looks like. So we got the 2 lists with the data correctly defined. And now we can move this over there. We see the drop event. It also appears already as the preview. You see this is A2 and I'm currently dragging A2. But we now need to define the functionality and then also work a bit more on the styling. So in terms of functionality, the cool thing is actually that with the package, they also defined 2 functions to easily copy the data. So they basically kind of knew that we want to use it in that way to move items between lists. So first of all, we need to check if the previous container is also equal to the event container. This means we're basically dropping A1 to whatever position in the same bucket. In that case, we need to use a different functionality. Otherwise, we need to swap items between the lists. So for this one, we can simply call move item in array. Moves an item one index in an array to another. The import comes also from the CDK drag and drop package. And then you just need to fill in the items. So array in which to move the item can simply be gathered from event, container, data. We just saw this also in our console log. Event, date, container, data. There we go. That's the array. Then we need the from index, which is simply event, previous index, and then event.current index. And there we go. The item will be moved. Just format it. There we go. Looks kind of nice. Now for the second part, there's also a function which is called transfer array item. And this one moves an item from one array to another. Current array is in that case event previous container dot data. The new target array, I hope my face is not covering this, is, let's do this on a new line, event container data. Then we need the current index of the item, which is again previous index. And finally, where we want to move it to is the event.current index. So these look kind of tricky, but we can import both of them from the package and they're really, really great for our case. So if we now update this, we see that we can finally move our items to other lists. We can move them back, and that's already pretty cool. But the animation isn't that great, and also there's a problem if you move everything there, you can basically not move anything back. So let's fix this with a bit of CSS. Let's get rid of this and simply put in this. So let's go through this. the drag preview is actually the class that is appended once we move this item. Then we got the placeholder. That's the one you see actually in that position. So that's the same you see. And it's very confusing, so we want to hide it. And then we got the animation for dragging it into a new place. And finally, a little quick fix to set the list height to a minimum of whatever, just so you always got this drop area where you can put in items. And the result of this now looks like this. You can start to drag it. You see the class is appended. And if we now move here, we don't see this ugly placeholder. Of course, you could do like a gray border or something, dotted border. But this already looks pretty cool. Then you can drag it and it slowly moves into this place. It eases into it. And because we got the drag area defined here, you can see there's the ion list with a min height of 200. That's why we still can move items back to that place. And that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video on the drag and drop functionality of Angular Material. I certainly did. I really enjoy working with drag and drop all the time. If you got any questions, leave them below in the comments or check out the official documentation, which also contains more information on just dragging sideways or just up and down the elements. So a really great package. I hope you enjoy using it. Make sure to give the video a like to support the channel and also subscribe for more Ionic videos. And finally, check out the Ionic Academy if you're looking for great training on Ionic. I'll see you inside the next video. Have a great day and take care.